Sound Radio, the #1 internet radio in Uganda. Log on to Uganda's biggest online radio, Ugsound Radio. Streaming live from Natete Wakaliga Road, Ugsound. This is Ugsound Radio, Uganda's #1 online station. Ugsound Radio. Lock it up.
Ugsound Online Radio is regulated by Uganda Communications Commission. Ugsound Online Radio erungamizibwa ekitongole ekya Uganda Communications Commission.
Being in Goma today is the result of struggle, and our struggle is indeed as a reason. We are people determined and engaged to move forward. They say we are in Goma. We find a lot of emergency problems, like water, lack of water, electricity, communication, and everything. But also we found a situation when we reach after the war, I mean, you have whatever is not needed. This emergency we are dealing with now, and we have started stabilizing. Our struggle as an objective. Our objective is to go to future, because we have a vision for the people of the earth. Looking at the way that the insecurity has eastern part of Congo, we have. And what is the reason? The insecurity. The first reason is the failure of state. The failure of state that is putting all the people to come. The negative forces like ADF, like the FDLR, and they are now a threat against our neighbors, but also a threat against our people. I also mentioned that the bad governance, the Kinshasa regime, putting opposition party either in jail or exile, even killing some of them. Today, I say we have about 100 political leaders personality in exile, just because the regime has installed a kind of dictatorship we have. Indeed, I also mentioned the fact that the division of people tribalism, and the fact that Tshisekedi has hired a lot of mercenaries, European mercenaries, a lot of using the FDLR people and training them with the FARC. All these are the reasons why we are going to fight until we have come to Goma. Today, we are not going to withdraw, but we are going to move forward from Goma, Bukavu, Kisangani, Bunia, Lubumbashi, Kananga, Mbujimayi, up to Kinshasa. And then that will develop. Our vision is named from a failed state to a modern state. Therefore, opportunity. Our vision is called to make Congo a business land. This is our I feel like it was a mistake, and I assume I know that I'm the one who created the devil, and I'm the one who's going to defeat him. I assume, but I know that I'm correct. This is one of the reasons why.
Ugsound online radio erungamizibwa ekitongole ekya Uganda Communications Commission.
Rwanda is supporting you. Rwanda is supporting you. This is one of the Kinshasa propaganda to hide the bad governance. You know, in Kinshasa today is the very, when you look at the city, when you look at the people, hunger, no food, no education, no water. All this for Kinshasa, they say is just because of. So the good question, before I answer your question, I think the good question is to know how many countries are in Congo today. Uganda is in Congo, dealing with Tshisekedi because we have this joint mission.
Ugsound online radio is regulated by Uganda Communications Commission.
And they say that they are there because they are fighting against Burundi is in Congo. These are the people we have been fighting, Goma and up now. They are still deploying other people. I can say that Malawi, they are in Congo. South Africa, they are in Congo. Tanzania, they are in Congo. You have European mercenaries, more than 1,000 or 2,000. They were in Congo because they have been paid. When you look at the MONUSCO contingencies, you have about 10 or even more citizenship. They are all in Congo. All those countries are in Congo. And they are saying that we are Rwanda, just because some of us speak the same language. We are Congolese. And the question might be, should be, what are those people doing in Congo? You know the reason? The reason is because there is a failure of state. And so far as we have this failure of state, will be a danger for Congolese people, but also for the countries in the region. Because you have in South Africa, in the north of Congo, you have Sudanese rebels, negative forces in Congo. We are indeed in danger, and not us. The Kinshasa regime is in danger. Another issue is that when you look at the weapon we are finding in Goma, I'm sorry, I can say that Tshisekedi was fighting against us, but I'm sure that they were another plan. I don't know. This is the question. We need to see. Looking at the weapon we have got is just unbelievable. We are going to struggle. We are fighting for the noble reason, and we have the reason to fight. The reason is that we don't have a country. There is a risk that even we lose the country. We are fighting for Congo people, and our cause is for Congo people. We want Congolese people, refugees, to come down, come home, back home. We want Congolese to have food, like you in your country. We need Congolese children to go to school. We need to have health care and so on. You in your country, you have roads. In my country, once you reach the border, no road. So are we going to continue like this? No state, failure of state, we will be in danger, even against you guys. So this is what we are creating. Create the state and to give good life. Living together between communities, no exclusion, no discriminations. Those are the things that are pushed. And we are going to do from here to the west, means just liberate all the country against. We have to create the condition. Yeah? We need to create the condition where that is allowed our refugees to come. And how many are there in Rwanda, in your country? How many are there? No, not. He's around 100,000 people. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So these are small things that we are going to sort out without any problem.
Thank you, Chairman of our community. I want to appreciate
It is a Ugsound Radio, the #1 internet radio in Uganda.
Chairman of our community. I want to associate myself with what has been said, especially what our sister President Samia Suluhu has just mentioned. But before that, let me raise a couple of questions, maybe to guide us. I don't know if that is possible. One, is there anybody among us who did not see this coming? I for one, I saw it coming to be where we are now. I saw it coming because I did not see who was taking charge of the process, who was listening, who was trying to provide any kind of guidance as to what we should be doing from one thing or one day to another. And by this, I want to also ask, as the East African community, what did we want from the beginning? What did we do about that? What are we doing now? And what do we want to do for where we want to go? Because exactly like President Sami has mentioned, if he's talking about problems and defining them and I think we have been very eloquent. We have talked about all kinds of things. But when do we match what we are saying and what we are doing so that we get to what we want? When do we come to that? I haven't seen it. President, I asked last time in our meeting, the last summit, where is East African community, or does it exist? And exist for what? By the way, even now, the person or the country we are talking about is not represented as we are discussing. And it is supposed to be, the country is supposed to be part of East Africa, but nowhere to be represented. So I'm not sure what bearing what we are discussing has on what happens in the process of finding a solution in this country. I'll move on. The conflict that was created from the time we had the East African community get involved in trying to help in Congo, and later on when the East African force was trying its best and we are seeing progress, Tshisekedi decided they are not doing what he wanted and went to SADAC. SADAC agreed they would come and do what he wanted and sent everybody packing. And that we complied and kept quiet. What really did we expect to come out of it? Now, worse still, I think even in East Africa itself, maybe we have different understanding of what the problem is, and we have never come together to agree or even disagree and find a way to come together finally to do what we ought to do to deal with this problem. Or we simply decided each country to move on its own with a different agenda arising out of involvement or whatever in Congo, and that was enough. If your interests were catered for by Tshisekedi, that was fine. Even if the others' interests or concerns were not taken care of. You can imagine, therefore, what chaos comes out of that kind of situation. We are, on one hand, assuming or pretending we are coming together over an issue and trying to find a solution, while at the same time, each country is pulling in its own direction, different from the other. This is the fact of the matter. Now, but even if we were doing everything right, all over, nothing is going to come out of it until those mainly concerned are also part of it and participating and contributing to the success of the process through which they are getting the support. But if the parties decide or accept to be manipulated, because, and by the way, that's exactly what happened, and I think
Ugsound online radio erungamizibwa ekitongole ekya Uganda Communications Commission.
They would go to one party and promise them something, and then they would decide to keep quiet about what is obviously going to result into problems like we are seeing now. Or like he did, he didn't want East African community because they were not doing things the way he wanted, even if it was not right. He got rid of them and he decided to bring in SADAC. SADAC was, without any question, coming to assist Tshisekedi to fight alongside FDLR, these murderers of our people here in this country, to fight against mercenaries, and to have Burundi on ethnic political basis decide to support Tshisekedi in whatever endeavor, including exactly doing what those murderers did to our people and what they are doing in Eastern Congo. They have displaced people, they have killed people, they have persecuted them on a daily basis for who they are. We have refugees here who have been here for the last 20 plus years, just dislocated from Congo and sent to Rwanda because they say these are ethnic Tutsis and therefore they belong to Rwanda. They don't belong there. And everybody is around. I don't know how many entities we have in Congo, honestly. We have MONUSC, we have some DRC, we have mercenaries, we have Burundi, we have FDLR that has joined them. And everybody is there watching this thing, and we pretend it's like we don't understand what has been going on for all these years. And then when things like this of last week erupted, we behave like we are surprised or we are concerned about humanitarian crisis, about this and that. Isn't persecuting and killing people and displacing them part of the humanitarian concern? So, as East Africans, we sit here and then do what about it? For the last 2 days, on Monday and today this morning, I spoke with the President of South Africa, who sought me out to speak with me on this matter because of their involvement in Eastern Congo. And he's also there pretending to be playing a peacemaker role, and he has a force that has been fighting alongside FDLR and has been fighting the M23 on the instructions of Tshisekedi, because these are people who are not supposed to be in Congo, that these are from Rwanda, or the M23 are not Rwandans. These are Congolese, and one time he accepts it, then another time He says, no, part of it is yes, and then the other part is from Rwanda, and these are the. It keeps on going. And how do we, leaders of our own countries, accept this to go on forever and just accept that we shall be manipulated by Tshisekedi or whoever is supporting him? And South Africa dares even issue threats about what is likely to happen after that, and so on and so forth. Of course, we will see what threats they are talking about. Maybe they should have done that exactly for which they have been issuing threats. They should have done it to clean up the mess in Eastern Congo, or to fight back those who have been trying to clean up the mess. So then you have the whole international community just confused. They talked about Rwanda, they talked about the Nairobi process. Honestly, even here, maybe you will help me understand what all this means. The processes became an end in themselves. And the people leading these processes became more important than the results of the processes. The Nairobi process became a Uhuru process. Then the Rwanda process, it's like you can't say anything that will displease President Lorenzo. Definitely, this does not help deal with such a serious matters as we are faced with today. That in the end, just because they can't be addressed, we have such a situation that, like we have now. And if anybody, and above all, I don't understand how Tshisekedi keeps thinking that he will resolve the problems to do with rights of people militarily. Kill them, shoot them, bring in forces that are ready to help, like especially Burundi. Well, I don't know whether that has been helpful for the last few days or weeks that they have been doing that. So I want us, Chairman, Your Excellencies, I want us, whatever we are saying and whatever we intend to do, we capture the context right and then proceed based on that, and maybe we can get somewhere. But otherwise, if we keep saying good things, saying that, and to each other being nice, and then each one fulfilling their own interests other than others' interests, the common interests we have as East Africans, then I don't see how we are going to contribute effectively to finding a solution. But really, to have even had East African community expelled from Eastern Congo and everybody complied and then there was quiet, it's as if it was normal or that is okay. Everything dictated by the country or the person we are trying to help. I didn't understand that. And that's where we are now. That's how we are here, where we are. So let me maybe for now stop here. I would really want to hear advice of others, but I think it's not just a plaything. It's not. It's
in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. That conflict. I'll repeat myself what I've said publicly. That the Congo, like all of us, we inherited colonial boundaries. And when the colonialists drew up the boundaries of the Democratic Republic of Congo, they included in the eastern parts of the Congo populations that were Rwanda speaking. These are Congolese in terms of those colonial borders. But the problem for us and problem for the Congolese is that certainly even during the days of Mobutu, they did not want to recognize the Rwandese who were Congolese as Congolese. You even had a formation there in the Eastern Congo of a military group, a militia, which was called the Mai Mai. The Mai Mai whose purpose was to drive away these Rwandans back to Rwanda. And Mobutu was encouraging that. That problem persists to this day. As you know, the Congo, the DRC is a very big country. And one of the challenges since the return of democracy, which was there before, it persists, is the footprint of the government from Kinshasa is not necessarily strong everywhere in the country. So in the Kivus, this is part of the problem, in the Kivus in the Far East. That's why you have the M23. It's because the Rwandan people, the Banyamulenge in Eastern Congo, have for many decades felt this, that they don't have the protection of the government in Kinshasa. So they need to protect themselves. In addition, you've had this challenge of the people who committed genocide in Rwanda, then they ran away into the Eastern Congo. So they are also there. Some of them involved in all sorts of schemes and naturally to try and overthrow the government in Rwanda. I'm saying that the first, my view, is the first part in terms of dealing with the crisis in the Eastern Congo is recognizes that the Banyamulenge are Congolese. The Rwandan-speaking section of the population of the Congo is Congolese, and therefore must be protected by the government of the Congo, like all the population of the Congo is entitled to protection by the government. That's a starting point. And then this issue has to be dealt with. Then what about the interests of Rwanda in the Eastern Congo, about the Rwandans? This group that committed the genocide, as well as these Rwandan-speaking people. How do you regulate that relationship?
Yes, the time. You see, look at the hands, look at the hands, look at the hands, and I'm being unfair to everyone. So let's allow the president to, if he allows us to take a second chance, I will do that. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. I'll have to be very brief, not like the last time. I want to say
Log on to Uganda's biggest online radio, Ugsound Radio. Streaming live from Natete Wakaliga Road, Ugsound. Owuliriza Ugsound Radio, the #1 internet radio mu Uganda. owuliriza Ugsound Radio, the #1 internet radio mu Uganda.
Ugsound online radio erungamizibwa ekitongole ekya Uganda Communications Commission.
They try to go home through Rwanda.
For the morning.
Are Romanian told to walk by M23. Are Romanian told to walk in single file as they chastised for their choices by M23.
They're fighting for the morning. They're fighting for our life.
They were fighting with Congolese forces by M23.
They're fighting for the money. They're fighting for our life.
They were fighting with They tried to go home through Rwanda.
Don't joke to M23, my boy. Don't joke. That is harming for the people. Don't joke. Don't joke. Move, move, quickly, quickly. Jump, jump, quickly, quickly. For the people. Don't joke.
They tried to go home through Rwanda.
Don't joke to M23, my boy. Don't joke. That is harming for the people. Don't joke. Don't joke. Move, move, quickly, quickly.
Owuliriza Ugsound Radio, the #1 internet radio mu Uganda.
M23 has